Lands owned by the school district, such as the West Broad School, are actually not subject to zoning ordinances.
Customers had to sort plastic bottles like these and cardboard like this into two totally separate bins.
During the football season, a lot of the silver seats that you see behind me are covered with red chair covers. The young Athens girl who found out she needed a bone marrow transplant last spring has finally found her match. Ryan Scatz also told me that a few other schools like Clemson University have tried programs like this.
Now Zach tells me that before the Chew Crew arrived, the vegetation in the area right where I'm standing was well over my head.
And coming up, I'll tell you about the unconventional way that the Athens Humane Society was able to bring in thousands of dollars this past weekend. One Cedar Shoals student is being held without bail at the Clark County Jail after a shooting Thursday afternoon. An Indiana farmer is going head-to-head this week with one of the largest agricultural companies over seed infringement. About a year ago, Joyce's work as a sorter at the ACC recycling facility got a lot easier.
We had to separate the cardboard by itself, but the machine do a lot of that work now.
The machine she's talking about is a single-stream sorter. The facility switched from dual to single-stream sorting just last November.
We had paper coming in separate from bottles and cans. And now we're single stream, which means the bottles and cans and paper all come in one stream together.
The facility made the switch to single stream to help reach their goal of diverting 40% of trash out of our landfill by 2015.
We own our own landfill in Athens, which should last us 50 years or more. After that, we won't have any place else to put our garbage.
Well, the county won't have to worry about that happening anytime soon. The recycling facility has already reached their goal, 3 years ahead of schedule.
We are recycling about 40% recycling rate already.
Along with switching to single stream, the facility made a few more changes last year.
We added 3 through 7 plastics, and then we also passed out recycling roll carts.
Thanks to these new changes, Joyce isn't the only one with an easier job.
Before the plant moved to single stream, customers had to sort plastic bottles like these and cardboard like this into two totally separate bins. But now they can go together in one.
You know, it takes all the thinking out of recycling.
But the efforts don't stop here. The 40% goal is just the first step of a new, bigger goal.
We have another goal, 60% by 2018 and then 75% by 2020.
Suki says that the next goal will be easy to reach because of a new ordinance passed last month that requires all commercial businesses to provide recycling options.
It was something that our mayor and commission felt strongly enough that we needed to make sure our landfill lasts as long as possible. We don't want to put items that have a value in there.
Businesses will have until December 2013 to comply with the new ordinance. Alli Christensen, Grady News Source. These goats are giving new meaning to the phrase, "will work for food." The herd has been hired to restore the area around Tanyard Creek, an urban stream that runs right through the heart of UGA's campus. Landscape architecture graduate student Zach Richardson noticed that the area had been overtaken by invasive plants.
Those plants are aggressive, exotic plants, so they're taking the place of native plants.
Richardson was especially interested in restoring this particular area because of its location.
It just kind of clicked, that light bulb moment went off that this would be a perfect spot for that because it's so visible, and you've got the SLC, the whole street parking deck, dorms, dining halls, everyone's walking right by the site.
To solve the invasive plant problem, Zach called in the experts, a herd of goats.
Most people look at it in terms of chemicals and weed eaters and heavy machinery, but goats obviously are a much more benign way to tackle that problem.
Zach first tested out the targeted grazing technique 2 years ago in a friend's backyard.
It was kind of a half-brained idea at first. Why don't we get some goats to clean up all this foliage, all this mess in the backyard? So we got 3 of them to kind of clean up. And that's kind of how it started.
Now Zach tells me that before the Chew Crew arrived, the vegetation in the area right where I'm standing was well over my head.
The Chew Crew's endless appetite has transformed this area from urban jungle to open pasture. But having goats is not all fun and games.
There was one downside to having goats, and that was that no fence can corral goats. They're likely to get out, so there was a lot of neighbors beating on our doors saying there's goats on the loose.
Lucky for Zach, the Chew Crew is surrounded by an electric fence, keeping the goats in and intruders out. Alli Christensen, Grady News Source.